It's now time for your Election Crimes Bulletin with Greg Palast.
And this is Dennis Bernstein with Greg Palast. Every time I hear that, I get a chuckle based on remembering after the chuckle is how serious your film is, Vigilantes, about what we are facing. This is not in the past, Greg Palast. What's happening to the elections and the loss of our ability to vote is in progress and ain't getting better. Would that be an exaggeration, Greg?
No, in fact, it's been really seriously underplayed. I think we have to go back to Trump's Townhall meeting from last week, and the media missed one of the most dangerous things that Trump took on, which is he was claiming, we got a little clip from that film, from his town hall, about 20 seconds there. So I want you to listen to this. This is Trump claiming that there are millions of votes, ballots, that were stuffed into the ballot boxes in 2020. This is dangerous stuff. We have responded to it. But I want you to listen to what Trump is claiming, because what he's doing, I'll explain, can change the outcome of the 2024 election, whether he's the nominee or not. Mike, do you have that?
If you look at True the Vote, they found millions of votes on camera, on government cameras, where they were stuffing ballot boxes. If you look at what happened in Atlanta, millions of votes, and all you have to do is take a look at government cameras. You'll see them, people going to 28 different voting booths to vote, to put in 7 ballots apiece.
But Mr. President,
and they're all
I
on
have
camera.
to stop you there.
Okay, what you've just heard is more, what to translate Trump's brain vomit, the general blather there. He is saying that in Atlanta there were millions of votes. First of all, there were millions of votes in Atlanta. Millions of votes stuffed into ballot boxes in Atlanta. Most African Americans in Atlanta voted by using their absentee ballot and putting them in drop boxes, not counting on the post office to get the ballots there in time because of the special law in Georgia that the ballot has to be received by the end of Election Day. So literally a couple 100,000 black Atlantans, almost entirely black Atlantans, use these drop boxes. And they claim that basically black men, and it's all black men in this film, he talked about True the Vote, in their film 2,000 Mules, which was, launched at Mar-a-Lago, that in their film they showed black men stuffing ballot boxes illegally, even though, and they're saying they have all the film because it's true that every ballot box has cameras on it 24/7, and they keep claiming they've got the video evidence. And I'll explain why this is dangerous. But first, from my film Vigilante, we actually took on the 2,000 Mules claim, True the Vote claim, that one guy went to 28 boxes and stuffed a bunch of ballots in 28 different boxes, and we took on the claim that they stuffed millions of ballots in these boxes. Here's a clip from the film Vigilante. Can you roll that, Mike?
Now today, there's a new film.
2,000 Mules, live from Mar-a-Lago in Florida. Former President Donald Trump, live on SalemNewsChannel.com.
It's the new birth of a nation. And once again, it says that black men, by the thousands, commit voter fraud. They vote several times.
This particular individual we have in a number of different locations. He's actually a mule.
Now dig this. Every single drop box in Georgia has a security camera on it. And the 2,000 Mules guys say this voter has dumped ballots in 27 drop boxes, and they have the videotapes. But oddly, they don't show the 27 videotapes. They show the same tape over and over.
This is a smoking gun. This is O.J. Simpson being seen leaving the scene of the crime.
So, did you see O.J. Simpson leaving the scene of the crime?
Let me tell you what I saw. This is the complexity and the nuance of racism in America. That by the very presence of who he is, he's considered guilty. I mean, to call a human being a mule.
Yeah.
A man who literally is getting out his car, doing his democratic duty to go vote, and to refer to him as a mule. I mean, full stop. Where do we go from there?
Okay, Dennis, that last voice you heard was Latasha Brown, a fellow at Harvard Kennedy School of Government, but best known as the co-founder of Black Voters Matter. And what we had there, what you were listening to, was the basis of Donald Trump's claim that black men were literally stuffing ballot drop boxes with millions of votes. And in particular, he names one who goes around to 28 boxes, and they claim they have the videotape. They don't show us. Well, it turns out that one of these guys that they claimed was going around to all these different boxes, his name is Mark Andrews. He saw his face on YouTube from True the Vote, and he sued them. As it turns out, he was hunted down by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation because of this claim by Trump gangsters. He was hunted down, and because he put 5 ballots in a ballot box, right? And they were correct. Yeah, he was stuffing that ballot box with 5 ballots. His ballot, his wife's ballot, and his 3 adult children. And the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, their own FBI, even though they're kind of a right-wing group working under Brian Kemp, they were furious. They actually said, making false charges of crimes and sending the Georgia Bureau of Investigation all over the state. We went to one voter after another who were on that tape, and they showed us their registrations and their ballot receipts. They're all legal voters, every single one of them. Every ballot was legal. And then the Secretary of State had all the ballot drop boxes, all the drop box votes, reviewed, counted by hand, and the signatures matched. And there wasn't one single fraudulent ballot, not one extra ballot. Now, this is not about debunking what Trump says about 2020. If it was just him blathering and these freaks from True the Vote, who, because they refused to even respond to the suit, they ended up going to jail, by the way, for contempt of court. But this would be, so you'd say, okay, more Trump fun and games. Here's why it's not fun and games, Dennis. Because this has been a very, very effective campaign by Trump and the GOP against ballot drop boxes because, are you ready? 25 million Americans use them, overwhelmingly Democrats. It was the main method of voting for African Americans in many, many states, from Texas to Georgia to Arizona to Michigan and Wisconsin, which is why Biden is president, and they know it. Without those ballot drop box votes for minority voters, Trump would be in his second term right now. And they know that whether Trump wins or not. So, for example, in Georgia, the same Republican officials who debunked it and declared not one fraudulent ballot, these same Republican officials have passed a law that cut the number of drop boxes in Georgia by 75%, and now there's a new law they proposed to completely eliminate drop boxes. In Wisconsin, which Biden only won by 10,000 votes, completely from the ballot drop boxes in Madison from the students, in Milwaukee from African-American voters, a right-wing organization won a court order to completely eliminate those drop boxes at the schools and in minority areas in Wisconsin. This could flip Wisconsin, whether it's Trump or any other guy the GOP puts up. And by the way, the lawsuit that won them the prohibition on drop boxes in Wisconsin was funded by the Bradley Family Foundation, which funded this berserko, libelous, defamatory, lying film 2000 Mules. The same money.
Amazing.
In Texas, they got around, they had a prohibition on drop boxes. So brilliantly, this is by the way, Houston is one of the, has the largest, I think it's the largest black population in America of any city, and one of the closest. And in Houston, Harris County, they got around the drop box prohibition by simply saying, okay, we'll have an election worker next to a drop box, and they can check your ID and everything else. So they had 24/7 voting in Houston. And they now have prohibited, the Republican legislature, Republican governor has prohibited. You're saying the same attack in Michigan, the same attack in Arizona, the same attack in Florida.
Greg, let me just jump in here. Got to take a break. Let me just jump in here. You're listening to Flashpoints on Pacifica Radio. My name is Dennis Bernstein. That's Greg Palast.